y'all? This is your girl Nikki, aka Honesty, and you are now tuned into the second episode of the Rapport, the Hip Hop Roundtable.
Yeah!
Now here we celebrate diverse lifestyles under the elements of hip hop, and today we will be touching on the topic of ageism. Now I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves, and then we'll go right into it.
Ivan representing the 90s babies, hip hop forever.
Bless, repping the 80s.
Mr. Fields, play the Field Entertainment Group.
And I am Ra, the co-host of the Report.
All right, so today, again, we are touching on the topic of ageism. Now, we want to start with something more recent, and it is a major story that some have heard of. A lot of people haven't heard this story, but it is the story of Lonzo Ball. Okay, this is how old is 19? 19-year-old rookie, 2017 for the LA Lakers. And he made a nice bold statement stating that Nas is not hip-hop, basically saying that he's not relevant in the hip-hop today.
That's the goal for the next 2 months while we do this.
What?
We're gonna get zealous into some real hip-hop.
That's not gonna happen. Y'all outdated, man. Don't nobody listen to Nas no more.
Face up, lean forward a little bit.
Oh, it's smaller.
Yeah, give me a big smile.
Real hip-hop is Migos, Future.
That's great.
Hey. Yeah.
We all live in an interview space.
So, how do you guys feel about that?
He's not qualified!
I second that motion. Yeah, he has really no place to define it. You can't take away the impact that's made when you talk about describing and defining what hip-hop is, what it's been, and the effect. His name's going to come up, his album's going to come up. It's kind of bugged, yeah. Him to touch on that. I wonder how Nas feels about basketball. Sarcasm.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Nas, I didn't read a direct quote from Nas, but I think that he had touched on saying that he's basically not qualified to make
he's
that
not qualified.
statement.
You 19, he ain't qualified to speak my name.
Yeah. How you doing?
Well, of course, I don't agree, but I understand where it comes from. Keep in mind, this kid is 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta realize what he was born a year, what after Nas dropped, it was written.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot about hip hop is context. Even when I don't agree, it's reflective of his age. So I'm not going to just write him off. You got to realize he grew up listening to what he's been listening to. You know, whoever's been hot the last 5 or 10 years, that's all he's been hearing. So that's his standard of what hip hop is. So anything before that, I'm sure he's totally oblivious to. So we have to always look at that. I think we got to look at context when you're talking about hip hop. How old is the person? And I think one thing every hip hop fan has to acknowledge when we have this discussion. You're going to be biased to what you grew up listening to. We all do it. 20, 30, 40, 50, 10. Whatever was popping, when you were coming up, you're going to have a certain bias to that because that's what you were hearing. That's what anybody.
But, and which I understand, but how does that reflect to the respect that we give the veterans, the elders of hip-hop, the ones that started it, the ones that defined hip-hop? Because even at age 26, I would not dare say that Nas is not hip-hop. I think that even my nephew at the age of 18, going on 19, wouldn't say something disrespectful like that.
Yeah, it's very.
You know better.
When I first heard, I'm like, you know what? What's so disturbing is the fact that he says he's not hip-hop. Not that he doesn't like him, not that he doesn't, dig his style. He's not hip-hop. So that's why I said earlier, would you go listen to it? All that he heard, that's hip-hop to him. Mm-hmm. Anything that sounds different before, totally oblivious to, and that's what a lot of rap fans, younger, but then older rap fans, have to admit, we have our biases too. So,
So you're saying, as me personally, as a '90s baby, I was saved in that little cusp of knowing and appreciating the beginning of hip hop and living in the '90s and the 2000s and appreciating all of that, rather than being like a new era generation. A 19-year-old today, is that too far back for them to appreciate? Is that what we're saying?
I think it's too far back that we expect them to go look for it on their own.
Okay.
I think, the older rap fans, the older family members, let the youngsters know, hey, this is what's going on, this is what happened then. Everything has a beginning, everything has a history, a past, and you have to be introduced to it.
I just think it's disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, you got to understand, like, everything has a start and everything has, an ending. So, understand that he's looking at the Uzi Vert, what's the other kid name with the purple hair?
Lil Yachty.
Lil Yachty. those are his superstars, right? Now, understand, like, before Yachty, everybody was on, what's the other kid that smoked all the weed? Amber Rose baby daddy. Wiz Khalifa. Right, before them it was Wiz Khalifa. He was the hot guy. Yeah, exactly. Telegang. He was the hot guy, that the kids was looking up to. Everything has a beginning. Everybody get their play from somebody else, right? So like me, like I'm born in the 70s, but I was raised in the 80s. So I got really into hip hop during Kane, Rakim, LL Cool J. But before it was all that, we had the Melly Mells, the Furious Five, you know what I mean? Grandmaster Caz, we had all that. Now, I would be disrespectful to say those guys are whack. They not hip hop. When they're the ones that started it. You gotta show you can't pay homage to what's in front of you is before going
without
backwards.
acknowledging, right?
Yeah, because they wouldn't have started if it wasn't for them. So for him to say Nas is not hip hop, he's obviously somebody that never did their homework on hip hop.
I feel like that's important. You need to do your homework before you can actually sit there and make such a bold statement. Because to the people that know hip hop, we know he is a living legend. You know what I'm saying?
You can't talk about hip hop without talking about
him being a part of it. The same way you can't talk about hip hop without talking about Grandmaster Flash. You can't Run DMC or Jay-Z or who else? Biggie, Tupac. You cannot talk about stuff like that without them being part of that history. And I feel for him wanting to be a hip hop artist himself because he laid out some garbage and I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, because we all know.
After I'm sorry not to cut you off, but the clip that they showed, like that they showed online, that we were peeping it earlier. It was a clip of what he said specifically, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, wow, that's what God's green earth.
But what you guys will say,
like
you have to know. We know about those guys, so we can
talk.
But imagine not knowing about those guys.
But then you can't. I'm sorry, you can't jump on a bandwagon of trying to be a hip hop artist if you don't know your history, and then you want to talk about a legend. That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm at. It's like bias. However you want to grow up, whatever you were listening to at the end of the day, whatever the hell, whoever lied to him and told him that he could rap, that's who he was listening to waking up, growing up.
And he's from the West Coast, so
and that's that's horrible because you got to pay homage to a lot of West Coast.
I'm saying,
West Coast got some great artists.
So he didn't grow up on Nas. We gonna give him that pass. We gonna give him that pass.
You know what? I got a point to make though. To be honest, I didn't really grow up on Nas either. I didn't acknowledge Nas until I was in this age, and I didn't appreciate him until I was in this age. That's not who I chose to listen to or who I was exposed to listen to.
But you knew he was.
I mean, I probably
was.
I was other than the hits, obviously,
You listen to Uchi Wally Wally. You listen to Uchi Wally Wally.
But she
exactly.
Times forward and backwards and follow the world. You're right, but still, going deeper into the commercial Nas. You know what I'm saying? Like even Lonzo Ball should be able to appreciate the commercialized, tracks that he put out with Lauryn Hill and Uchi Wally and all of that. That's fine. But when I think about, going back to who defined hip hop for me, I respect him. I know that he's a part of the hip hop history. But when I think about it, the first thing that comes to my mind is like Wu-Tang and Rakim. And so when I first was introduced to hip hop again as an adult, and I say again because I heard it as a child. Yeah. But I didn't know that it has such an impact in my life. I was too young to know that it was affecting my life until now. So going back, it's like, yes, I'm a 90s baby. Yes, I grew up listening, to 50 Cent and Fab and Dipset. And so that was the era where I was around. But I still, when I listened to things that were even before Nas, I fell in love deeper with that. I was like, okay. So there's another realm. There's tiers to this shit in hip hop, and so this was me a couple of years ago. I don't know if Lonzo Ball is there yet. I don't know if a lot of young listeners are there yet. But I know that someone who is a hip hop enthusiast who loves and identifies with the culture of hip hop, I did my homework, and I still do my homework. I'm still learning. I didn't sit here and say, you know what, I'm going to start the rapport because I know everything there is to know about hip hop. You know, I sat here and I'm like, you know, there's stuff that I know, there's stuff that I don't know, there's stuff that I want to learn, there's stuff that a lot of people have to share, and especially personal stories, which I think we should get into a little later. But I feel like, again, like we mentioned before, doing your hip hop research and your history and all of that is important, especially if you're gonna make a bold statement like that. I would slap his face off. I probably would have got fired if I was the cameraman. But with all of that said,
stick to basketball, Lonzo
stick to
Ball.
basketball. West Coast, just stay over there. That's all you're gonna have to
Ain't got nothing to do with his where he from.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Let him figure out who did that.
It doesn't. I love Tupac. I love Tupac, and he's all West Coast.
We love all West Coast, and that's just what it is. West Coast is life and family. But at the end of the day, he need to stick to shoot his little ball, play them 3-pointers. You need to work on something going on with that head of yours, because I don't know what the hell on your head.
Wow.
But yeah, focus on your image, Bill.
No, we got to tell that young man to do his homework. Do his homework.
Do your homework.
Research. You know, ask your dad. Ask your dad who you listen to.
Reevaluate the definition of hip hop.
You know, your dad just did ask for Ice Cube, talking about Ice Cube's Big Three, and his dad just working. They just had a little something going on with trying to work something out with that. Your dad know Ice Cube. Ask him to play some for you. You know, that's what I would tell him. You know, listen to the old, the whole. Not even say old school. Listen to the classics.
How can his father let him say some shit like that?
I don't think his daddy was around.
His father ain't got no sense. His father said he could beat Michael Jordan. Something wrong with the family.
But his father know about Ice Cube, so that's it.
Something wrong with the family.
So we're gonna tell that young man, listen, do your homework. Just listen a little bit. Go back a little bit. Listen. See what you like. We'll visit this question about 4 years from now, 2 years from now. See if he says the same thing. I think that's it. Let him do the homework. I think he come back in 2-3 years. His answer he won't say the same thing.
I feel an apology coming on real soon. Watch.
Well, I hope they watch this video and think about that. No, but so what do you think? I mean, what do you think this does for hip hop? The division between new school artists, old school artists, or pioneers, vets, whatever you want to call them, consider them as. But they're obviously elder. You know, they're not up to date. So how do you guys feel about the division between the artists? Now we talked about, you know, kind of like a fan basis, even though he's, you know, superstar, whatever. But we wanna talk about the artists themselves in the music industry, how that reflects between the relevance of a hip hop artist and someone that's coming into the scene now.
Well, I'll start off and I'll say this: that in the beginning, there was a lot of hesitance from the older artists, right? Because they weren't used to the sound coming from these new artists. So it was like, what is this? They're killing the sound.
Right.
And then, and I say for myself, because I include myself in the older generation, that it took some time for us to understand, like, you know what? These young kids are actually saying something. Once you get through the delivery, right? And so there is a welcoming now of, yeah, young fella, do your thing. I support you. But on the other side, there's a lot of resistance from some of the younger artists. They don't want to acknowledge the older artists. It's like, no, I don't want to listen to you. Oh, hey. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. They don't want to take on that knowledge. They don't, you know, they don't want the torch from the older MCs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They figure, I know it all. You know, it's just kind of, it's like any other, you know, adult to child relationship. You know, I think I'm my own man. I'm gonna do it on my own. I don't need to listen to you. Right. All right, well, go ahead and sign your 360 deal. Talk to me later.
Right.
But I mean, that's why I see it. Now there's some that's welcoming, and there's a lot of them that's like, nah, I'm good. You know, there's a lot of arrogance with them.
I've been seeing a couple of artists, older artists, you know, publicly.
Yeah, publicly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just like, hey guys, you kind of have to start accepting these younger artists. They out here doing their thing too. Yeah. They're hustling just the same way.
Yeah, a lot of them are giving them they just do.
Yeah.
You know, you'll hear live, and I'll say like, for instance, Jadakiss, he salutes the young artists.
Right.
Snoop salutes the
Dogg,
young
right.
artists.
He's an example.
You know, a lot of them, you know, they shout them out. Yo, they do, these young boys doing their thing. They put in their
Actually,
work.
Uncle Luke just mentioned that too.
Yeah,
He
they
did
all
the hip-hop
doing their
awards.
thing. Yeah, if Uncle Luke acknowledging them.
Yeah.
Yo, these kids, they creative. You know, they come up with a new sound, just like you know, in 80s, 90s, all the artists was coming out the woodworks, and everybody had a different sound.
Yes.
You know, and at first, the elder generation was like, "What is this? This is not hip hop." But no, it was our sign of our times.
Right.
So that's how a lot of us look at it now. You know what? This is the sound of their times.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, young fella, do your thing. I'm supporting your hustle. I'm supporting your dream.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you need me, I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Straight like that. But a lot of them, you know, big-headed. You know, I'm doing my own thing. I don't need you. I don't gotta listen to you.
Yep. What do you guys feel?
You know, these are just times where the hip hop nation needs to come together. You know,
Yeah.
it's time to stop. You know, the division. There's too much division in hip hop. You know, this music was made, you know, to give people a voice that didn't have one. You know, to build a community, to unite, and it's too much. It's not doing that too much anymore, not as much as it should at least. So that's what I want to see. You know, how can we get the artists, the older heads, to give the young kids, you know, to mentor how the older kids, because it's all about respect. Both parties may say, you know, I may not like your music, or I may not even understand your music, but I respect you as an artist and come from the same communities, you know, and this is, you know, our thing. We gotta, you know, we gotta preserve, we gotta take care, because after artists fight each other, you got the fans bickering, where's the unity at? You know, what happens next? You know, who's gonna control hip hop? Who's gonna, on every level of hip hop, who's gonna control it?
You know what's so crazy? Hip hop is the only genre of music that talks about age. Hip hop is the only genre of music where there's an age division.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that in
Talk
rock and
about
roll.
it.
You don't see that in country music.
R&B.
You don't see even in pop music itself. In R&B.
R&B, they give
Don't-
them a little
no,
bit of that.
no,
little
listen to me.
A little bit of
Hip
R&B.
hop-
Not as a bit of
Shades
hip-hop.
into hip hop.
No.
But
Let me
New
tell you
Edition
something.
come on the stage, it's a rap. Like, we
Listen.
all
Listen, an old school R&B act can go on tour with a new school act.
This is true.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
there's no age discrepancy.
Yeah.
Hip hop is the only genre in where, you know, there's an age, there's only a age conflict. You know, oh, you too old, or you too
You
young.
washed up.
Yeah, and hip hop is the only one. R&B, you could go on tour and make records till you 80 years old.
And you know what that might be too? It's funny, you think about R&B, it's all a love song. Relationships, love, doesn't change much. You know, the players change, but the game stays the same. But in hip hop, like we said earlier, the music is reflective of the times and what you're going through. That's where it changes. The content changes. The whole content changes.
I mean, well, of course. I mean,
Love is time.
your content has to grow with you, right?
Right.
And I'm pretty sure the people that I was delivering content to in the 90s don't want to hear that today, right? My crowd is growing with me.
Absolutely.
So I have to grow, you know, I have to grow up with my crowd. And so for the younger people, they have to have something. So that's why you have the new artists. It's something for everybody. But when you letting people divide the culture, divide the fan base, divide the artists, you know what I mean? That's our fault.
Yep.
That's our fault. We let that. Because it doesn't happen in R&B, doesn't happen in rock and roll, doesn't happen in pop, nowhere. But hip hop. So that's something that hip hop got to figure out together.
I agree.
We need more mentoring.
Yes.
We need
But it's-
more.
We talking about the same people who don't even have mentors in their own families.
This is true. This
Well-
is exactly why the community has to give back. This is exactly why these artists that make it have to give back to their community.
Well, that's why.
And this is not just talking financially.
Well,
This is talking about, you know what I'm saying?
That's why we have music conferences.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where the you know the senior music heads, they come out, they speak to the youth. You know what I mean? We have those platforms.
Yeah, there's
but we
some
give back.
movements there,
But,
there's some movements
but
there.
you gotta want it.
That's true too.
I can't be a mentor to you if you don't want it.
That's true too. These youngins is gonna have to do it.
They should come up with a show like, you know how they have Big Brother. You know what I mean?
What do they do?
Like, you
It's
know,
called
like
Rap
that-
Game.
Well, then they need a hip hop Big Brother where you got an old school.
Don't give it
mogul.
away. Don't give it away.
Okay, why?
Yeah.
We could.
You selling away content.
Yeah.
Give away content. Give away content. Don't do that. Don't do that.
We got business meeting. But that would be. I mean, there needs to be some type of change when it comes to that. I feel like there's no respect.
We're calling for a less division in hip hop,
And
that is what we're calling
it's
for.
lack of respect. That's what I feel like it is at most, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel the same way. Lack of respect. If you had more respect, I think things would go a lot more flowier for you when it comes to moving forward in the whole game, not just the hip hop game, but the whole game. Because everybody that's made it, they have respect. Yeah. They have respect for who was and who is now. You get what I'm saying? But Jay-Z, he paid his fucking dues. Excuse my French. He paid his dues.
Yeah.
Okay? Oh, yeah?
You can
Well,
curse. We
I
know.
like that.
We know none of the major networks.
All right. He paid his dues. You know what I'm saying? They all did. And I feel like everybody needs to just get on board with that. But it all starts with freaking respect, man. Like, come on. I'm still stuck on this Lonzo dude. I want to punch him.
I kind of am too. I'm not gonna.
I just
lie.
want to hit him.
Like,
Give them,
I want to hit him.
give them 2 years.
He
Listen.
slapped off.
Let him do his
Like,
own work.
It just disappoints me. That hurts me more than it angers me, because it's like, how far, how bad have we come?
Don't worry about him. Let him focus on basketball.
But you know what?
You need to.
We're not gonna do the finger pointing thing. You know,
We're not gonna
I was
do
listening
that.
It's funny because I was listening to an interview EPMD gave recently, right? And Eric Simmons said something interesting. He was like, "What happened? You know, how did hip hop become like this?" And you know, we have all of us, you know, myself included. I was a fan. I was like, "I want to hear that. Those stuff is whack. This is garbage. These young kids ruin the hip hop." And what came up was, you know, when those rap was taking over the airways and becoming the dominant, what were we doing?
Right.
The rappers and the older rappers and fans from ever, we complained. But we didn't take the time and action, the energy and action to put into educating these youngsters, the fans, other fans like ourselves, and the artists educating others. So there's a blame that goes on both sides of that. You know, hip hop is the way it is now because of both sides. You know, the older generations, we failed these kids. You know, we didn't school them right.
Take the time to school them.
You know, we didn't take time to school them. We just said, "Oh, it's like I don't want to hear it," and I'm very guilty of that. Yeah, I'm very guilty of that. You know, so now it's time. Let's come to the table.
Yeah, I've seen more of a shaming take place. Like, oh, you kids these days don't know about this. Instead of, hey, you ever heard about this? Or like, no, let me put you onto this. You get that mostly from like aunts and uncles.
We get insulting. You know what I'm saying? Like disgust comes over us, and we gotta say to ourselves, you know what? I mean, I like it for obvious reasons. Like, you know, I can't really understand. But one thing I've noticed about hip hop, there's somebody, no matter what age you are, there's somebody out there, some artist out there for you to listen to that you will like.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a 20-year-old, guess what? There's a 40-year-old rapper that was rapping back in the 90s, still rapping now, who you might really dig if you give him a chance. You know, so, and that goes both ways. There's somebody out there for you just gotta find them and search. So you people out there, search, find us hip hop that you like.
Yeah, man, for real.
Definitely.
I like that. I think we want to do less of division in this hip hop community.
More unity. U-N-I-T-Y.
Yes, definitely.
I think one factor was like the definition of hip hop has definitely changed over time. You know, for me, growing up, it was always like instilled. It's the preservation of knowledge and culture, and like, you know, kids today are identifying like Lil Yachty and whoever else as hip hop, and like, you know, to me it's like, nah, that's like rap, that's trap, that's completely different. It's under a whole different umbrella. But like, that's also another thing that like that should be instilled too, like the preservation of knowledge and culture.
I definitely I think we're kind of on a right path of doing that. I think even the purpose of this, you know, hip hop roundtable is bringing that knowledge to the table and making sure that people out there, both young, both old, whether you're 16, 19, 30, 45, 60, you know, black, white, Chinese, purple, I don't care. Like, there is something in the hip hop culture that you do and can identify with. It doesn't even have to just be the music. You know, it can be giving back to the community, and that's one of the biggest aspects of creating something like this, creating a platform like this, and having a diverse a diversified people come together under one understanding and one passion and kind of exuding all of that love and blessings out to especially our younger generation, you know. I think I had Mika, she wanted to say something. She's over here in the background.
But I wanted to
Come
say,
over
like,
here, boo.
hi. So I wanted to ask a question, like, if it's like, with hip hop or whatever the case may be, like, younger generations can listen to the rappers that they listened to when they were young. So, like, listening to Jay-Z now versus listening to Jay-Z back in the day when he was siphoned are two totally different things. And you can still, as a young person, find something relatable about that because everybody was young once.
Yeah.
You know,
I actually, like, from Reasonable Doubt until now, like, I grew up on Jay-Z's album.
Okay.
I like the way that I put myself together coming up. Jay-Z influenced it.
Okay.
From wearing button-down shirts to selling drugs, you know, to changing my circle around me, you know, to accepting myself in my 30s and all of that. You know, Jay-Z molded me. He gave each album, he spoke to me directly. I don't see no albums like that from any artists. You know what I'm saying?
That's a strong story.
Like, yo, from '96 when Jay-Z came out, and we all know he was in the streets, and Reasonable Doubt was all about the hustle. You know, it was all about the champagne popping, you know, and then Volume 1, you know, spoke about the glitter and the glam, and, you know, I'm from Marcy, spoke about the streets, and, you know, how they were spending money. And then Volume 2, I'm getting money, mainstream, you know, we rocking button-down shirts and stuff, we rocking the latest
Moving
cars.
on up.
Yeah, like all of that. Like, I grew with that. I developed myself through that. I don't see any artists right now that is bringing out material for their fans to grow with them with.
Cudi, for me.
Kid Cudi?
Yeah.
Kid Cudi is a good guy.
Kid Cudi
But I don't hear a lot of material from him.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Went through some
See,
stuff.
that's
He
what
did drop an album this year. He did.
To do stuff like that, you got to be a consistent artist, right? I can't grow with you. You dropping albums every 4 or 5 years, right? And that was my thing with Nas. Like, I love Nas, but Nas didn't drop enough content for me. His albums, Nas dropped an album whenever he felt like it. But they were dope. They were impactful. But my development was already where it was supposed to be at.
Yeah.
It's so funny because my experience has kind of been different. You know, I guess young, I started listening to Public Enemy about, I was like 12. So it kind of molded me a bit. Then time went on. Then I got a little older. Then it became Tupac. It was Tupac, and everyone knows I'm a diehard Tupac fan. That's how I do. You know, unfortunately he passed, you know, so over the years, Nas has become my favorite rapper alive. So even though I can't relate to what these guys are saying much now, I can still go back to that material, those 3 artists, right, those 3 acts right there, and I'm still good, you know what I'm saying? So I think like timeless, you know, hip hop, you know, it was, you know, no matter how much time goes by, you can still play it now. Not only does it sound good, but you can learn something from it, you know what I'm saying? That's what I really appreciate about that type of hip hop, you know, that just carries, you know, artists, you know, some art in the pockets and him anymore, unfortunately, but 20 years later, we still talk about him.
Yeah.
Jay-Z saved me from Tupac.
Wow.
Because I had the ambition of a rock.
That's crazy.
I was thugged out. Jay-Z told me to be fly.
See, and I feel the opposite. I feel like your pocket, you know, that revolution, that community.
Yes.
You know, it's so funny, and that's it. And that's the beauty of hip hop. Every artist, you know, you can learn something from.
You have a
know,
story.
hopefully, it's something that benefits you. You know, that works for you. But yeah, you know, that's the beauty of hip hop. You know, diverse cultures. That's it, right there.
Yes,
that's it.
Yeah, because Redman had everybody getting high.
You know what's funny? You might have started it, but Dre and Snoop to a whole other, you know, once that came, that was it. But yeah, diverse lifestyles.
But I mean, at least Snoop Dogg kept that, you know, I love Snoop Dogg. I love the fact that he does represent, like this whole, smoking and everything like that. But he also is a businessman. He also knows his football, stuff with his son and everything like that. And I don't know if I'm mistaken, but I think his son decided to drop out and follow his music career.
Yeah,
I gotta find out.
Yeah, no, it's true. He did. No, he did.
He did, right?
He didn't want to play football. He didn't really want to play football. He was doing it for his dad.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That Snoop is funny. Like even with Sensual Seduction, like he also plays with music. Like he's fun.
Yeah,
he is fun.
Yeah, he plays with different music. He doesn't stick to a bar. Snoop is not boring.
Right.
He'll play with different sounds.
He was just DJing at BB King's recently. It was fun. It was fun watching him just get down. He was just doing his thing. It was cool.
I'm gonna do my thing.
He was a great live performer.
Yes.
I got a chance to see him years ago at the Best Buy Theater. It was him, Redman, Method Man, and Devin the Dude, and it was a magnificent concert.
Nice.
Snoop actually performed with a live band. Incredible. He was
Great showmanship.
Yeah. Stage presence matters. Yes.
He's a great performer. He knows how to keep hype and keep a crowd hype.
And I think that's important for artists
Yes.
in the hip hop industry. Keeping
Receiving
some type
crowd,
of consistent, fan base, making sure that you're, bringing in, other stuff. And
I think like a really big challenge for like a lot of artists now to stay consistent is they're not really making money doing music anymore. Like the internet has fucked that up in a real way. So like they have to find other ways of making a mean. So it's like you can't really just focus on your album and knocking out an album every year when it's like you gotta push your clothing brand too, you gotta push this cologne brand, and you have no interest in cologne, but you just need to like make ends meet in some way, and like, which is why I feel like a lot of MCs are like selling liquor stuff too, because it's like it's not really coming from.
They're branching, they're
like,
breaking off.
I don't remember the last time I bought an album.
I don't remember
physical
right.
CD.
I haven't bought one in a long time.
It's not about physical sales anymore.
It's not.
It's about streaming.
Yeah.
That's why publishing is so important.
So we have to take on acting too, and
I think
a lot more.
No, it's all about streaming.
How it started.
That's why everything is based on views, right? So if I put out a project and I got 1 million views, right? Basically sold 1 million copies. Right.
Is it only a stack though? How much is it for 1 million views?
Uh-huh.
Well, on
It's not a
YouTube,
lot.
1 million views is $1,000.
And that's not a lot. That's completely different than like selling 1 million albums.
So that's what everything is based on now. It's based on streaming, based on views. There's no more physical buying.
Yeah.
Everything, because people don't buy music no more. We listen on Spotify, we listen on iTunes, we listen on YouTube.
Everything now, like albums are dropped now on, networks like that.
Yeah, and it's an oversaturated market too on top of that.
Oh yeah, SoundCloud, all that stuff.
It's funny. I still look forward to buying CDs. I just ordered Wu-Tang's new CD. I'm waiting for it to come in the mail right now. I actually prefer.
That's something to anticipate.
I still order. If I have a preference, I will take the actual CD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate people like
Stop playing. Get out of here.
I don't.
Stop playing.
I don't want to see you play.
I can agree with you. I can appreciate the physical, having the collection, having, you know what I mean?
And also for a few reasons, you're paying that $10 or $13, $15 now, right? You get that digital version. Something goes wrong, you still got your hard copy. If your hard copy breaks, you still got your digital. So I like having that. It's like I feel like I'm getting more bang for my buck in a sense. So that, and also the treasure. If it's from like my top 10 artists, I gotta have the CD. I can't do the streaming thing. I need the actual CD still.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does it still come with like some lyrics or?
Unfortunately, no.
They don't give the lyrics.
Mr. Days, to go tell you youngsters out there who
Yeah,
don't
put
know.
that post on your wall.
Yes.
Read the
You
lyrics.
remember that? Yes.
To the youngsters out there, watching and listening who don't know, back in the 90s and the 80s, we had the lyrics inside the inserts.
The covers.
And the album covers, yes.
Remember the album? We used to have, first it went from the 8 tracks to then to the records. Then we had the cassette tapes that
How
had.
you go from 8-track to record? We with the 8 tracks and we had the tape decks and the 45.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's all in the same
That's called history. That's vintage right there.
But we went from all of that
shit I never heard of.
I'm well preserved.
Stop it.
like jelly.
Like That's so
think the
very
word is vintage.
disturbed.
Vintage, yes.
Oh my God. I love that word. Hashtag
I do.
vintage.
Hashtag vintage.
Yes,
It is
but
a good word.
I think that we should definitely be asking the audience too when everyone views this video. I want your thoughts on ageism, on the difference between young artists, old artists, their relationships, the mentoring, the bashing. As far as older artists being washed up or irrelevant or not even defining hip hop anymore. I want you guys to give us some of your opinions. And also, there was a lot more beef out there other than, the whole Lonzo and Nas situation. I remember Soulja Boy and Ice-T having their thing and a couple other beefs. So I think that really, it drew some attention for hip hop, but we also want to know the pros and cons to that. So I want you guys to give us your opinion, and definitely check us out on YouTube, The Rapport. If you guys want to follow the discussion page, you can log on to Facebook, The Rapport, and follow us also on Instagram, the.rapport. So that's THE.RAPPORT. I'm going to have everybody give their handles real quick. If you're interested in being a guest or just coming in and checking us out, email us at hhrt101@gmail.com. That stands for hiphoproundtable@gmail.com. Okay, thank you guys. Peace and blessings. Everybody give you your handles and let them know where you can find them.
At Ivan_the Rapport.
Yes, it's blessed. _ the platform NYC.
I am Ra. At Instagram, it's I_am_Ra.
Mr. Fields, you can find me at @thereal_Mr_Fields.
All right. And we are here preserving the lifestyle of hip hop. Thank you again. Peace and love. Peace and love.